I was surprised when I discovered that we've lost 500,000 people to Islamic extremism. But when it comes to state atheism being created, we lost 60 million souls.
Something cannot be without something. So now I would like to ask you about how do life come about according to the teachings or the knowledge of atheism?
If there's a ultimate creator that created something, what would that creator be thinking in terms of who created? Won't that person be like exactly like us? Confused about, did somebody else created me?
Well, if someone is trying to be a politician and is saying, oh, he's an atheist, confess atheist, the person is not really thinking too well.
I would like to ask you a simple question. Do you think the world will be a better place if everyone is an atheist?
This episode is brought to you by Oruno. More about them later in the video. My name is Elon Jobs. If you are watching this for the first time, and you are welcome to Rational Dialogue, where we talk about religion, faith, relationship, and everything in between to enlighten young people, young minds like yourself, on how to navigate the nuances of useful life. Is that how I will put it? Well, that is how we will put it, because we are running a series on religion, the problem with Christianity, the problem with Islam, the problem with Isheshe, the problem with agnosticism, and tonight we want to make a final punch on the subject matter, the problem with atheism, the idea of not believing there's God. And I'm your host, Elon Job, like I said. Right here with me in the studio, I have on my left, I think the thief on the left did not make it to heaven. I have on my left, Josh Tracy, is the agnostic, the one that we questioning what they believe last week. And right there at the stream, and I have no other person than Dan Smith. If you don't know him, he talks about sports. That's why you are seeing on Real Madrid jersey. He is not a Real Madrid fan. He's an Arsenal fan. The unfortunate club. And tonight, he's representing Islam, as always. Afa, Danda, Semil, Dan Smith.
Salam alaikum.
And on my right, I think these are the people that are going to make it to heaven, if we are following the biblical, allusions. Right from the extreme end, I have the producer, the man, the myth, the legend, John Wills. He's wearing the brand that have always sponsored our videos, except for this one, that is sponsored by a new brand. And I'll tell you about them later. And that's John Wills, representing Christianity. And this guy, that I don't know whether he's a Christian or not, but he claims to be an Isheshe participant or, I don't know, enthusiast. Anyone that you want to give him, because I've not seen him do any form of exercise that represents the religion ever. This guy has not even done the body. He just identified himself as a Isheshe man. So today, I'm the atheist, and I'm representing the idea that, there are no sufficient evidence that there's God. So that I will not be the judge and the jury, let's hear from everybody. Where should we start? I think we started this entire series with Christianity. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if that is true, we should start with Christian. The Christian guy, what is the problem you have with atheism?
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So a couple of years back, I was an under-level student. I was a JJC.
Oh, you were an under-level student.
And
okay.
It happened that as at then, I've been thinking about, when I'm done with this school, then what else will I do?
Okay.
And that was the thought on my head. Like, how do I make money and all of that? So I went home one day for, I think it was a break. It was a semester break or something. And I was walking on the streets, roaming around, and then thinking, I don't know where I was going actually. I can't remember where particularly I was going. But thinking about how to make money. And all of a sudden, I saw this man in front of me. And it was like, he has a way to make me money, blah, blah, blah. And their office is at Tipper Garage and all of that. If I come there. And it was actually, right? Yes, it was an offer. What he was introducing me to is this German life kind of.
Oh,
that was rampant at that time. I was like, okay.
They are doing one cheap best now, something like that.
Who knows? And I was like, okay. I'm thinking about money, and then I all of a sudden saw someone that is talking about money. But now, this is where the issue is. This is the hard one out of it. Is that the guy that was actually telling me about how to make money is wearing a tattered shoe, and his legs were very, very dusty. I look better than him. I even look like someone that could actually afford to give him something.
Okay.
Rather than he
The other way around.
The other way
To
around.
show you the way.
So
Interesting.
similar thing is what we are about to talk about today. The issue that I have with atheism,
Okay.
which is the quality of life, part of human existence, what we care about, and the quality of life that we want. And I was checking through how, like, okay, even if you are going to be in this atheism, look at everything about it. Look around. What actually makes it sexy or something like that. And I was checking and I saw that atheism actually have the highest. I think we were talking about Christianity and then how it can. We saw a video and then there's a video where a guy was talking about how angel told him to commit suicide or something like that. Like, okay, that's a valid point from an atheist perspective.
That angel can tell
A
someone.
rational mind would not be told anything by an angel
And
that
then
I
you
should
follow
commit as an atheist. Then I think that was actually what triggered me to go and check. And I found out that for the sake of God, this atheist set of people actually have the highest rate of suicide.
Wow.
And okay, I check the first research. I'm like, okay, this research could be biased. Then
What was your source?
I went ahead to check the American Journal of Psychiatry. They also were affirming the fact that in non-religious subjects and in religious subjects, there's a more higher rate of suicide when it comes to atheists, people that believe in God, like religious people. And it makes me question, do I want to find myself in a state? Do I want to increase my odds of finding myself in a state of committing suicide? And if I'm going to be honest with myself, I'm going to answer the question correctly. Definitely not. And it is not something I want to put into the hands of my children, that they should fall into the world is already harsh. Then why on earth should I put myself in that shoe? Like, why on earth should I increase the tendency of being suicidal? So I think that's a valid point, valid issue that I have with atheism.
It's the fact that people almost that I think I was hoping you were going to come up with a very strong first point, but honestly, that was a very weak one, because I'm sure that argument is on depressive subject, right? If a body such as that says that, that's likely the
It's
case.
not a body, like bodies.
Yeah, bodies like that on the subject matter that is depression, say something like that. I don't know how valid their data is, but let's accept it. Let's put it into evidence. And I want to put you some context. So, how many atheists commit suicide bombing? No. Because that factor is on the fact that you don't have a father in heaven. If you think about the idea of having a father in heaven, you believe you have a God, you have a father, or God has a purpose for your life, then there's a tendency you are going to stick around. So maybe that's a downside of actually being an atheist, standing on your feet and thinking for yourself. And then when you don't find purpose in your life, you most likely going to say, let me go. You know, there's no point in here. So, but when you believe that there's a God somewhere that gives you factor into your life, maybe you are going to, there's a comforting factor there. Now, here's the thing. Am I suggesting that most people have the tough or the power, the mental power to live life in its harsh form? Maybe not. So that's why most people are susceptible to the idea of even believing in God or some sort of believing in God. So essentially, I will agree with the body of psychiatry on the fact that if skin no full, no put body. If you cannot stand on your own, if you believe that you are very depressive, maybe you should find counsel in the credence of religion. Essentially, I believe that one of those things that religion gives is those comforting, believe, those comforting aura for, for living. I believe that strongly.
Like
but
atheism has no provision for.
Yeah, that atheism definitely don't have provision for. That's having a father, having this big sense of you are in a big picture of a big thing that is happening. There's a fight between demons and heavens, and then you are the one in between. There's a gamble over your life. There's this actually. But then I'm sure that those maths, those equations, that set of data, those statistics don't account for things like suicide bombing. They are accounting for only depressive, episode. People that are, struggling with depression.
So,
and quote.
With what you are, with the explanation you have given now, you are saying atheism cannot be run at scale. That is only some set of people that feel that they are strong enough.
No, with what I'm saying, I'm saying that if you go to war, let me take this. Is going to war because of a religion belief is form of suicide. You wake up, you said because your religion is more important than somebody else's religion. You go out and there's a big chance you are going to die. Are you going to count that as a suicidal mission on the part of somebody that goes into war because of that?
So if you consider war a suicidal war generally as a suicidal attempt.
I do consider.
I think this. I'm very sorry. I think this is the point where we are mostly adumbrating. I think we respond like other people usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should go around and everybody should adumbrate on their issues with atheism so that you can. Because I'm sure we.
No, I want it to be one after the other, so that it will, so that before we go to the next thing, so that we not be half on that subject matter. Of course, I will expand the conversation to other people. What I believe is that primarily you can come up with different argument later. Is the fact that I've checked it before doesn't account for all other form of suicidal missions that are premised on religious belief. That data is specifically talking about self-harm confined to self-killing. It's not talking about deaths that occur in the name of religious belief.
So, what is the number of deaths that occur based on? I don't
have access to data, but we don't need to go far before we know that that's a massive data.
I really think that when we talk about suicide bombing, this is definitely be included as a suicide because the person killed themselves. These are people that killed themselves that are being listed. So I know that you are trying to say that people that go to war for religion. I think when it comes to war, we are on a different. I'm
counting people that do suicide bombing, people that go to war, people that.
I think we should remove people that go
we can't remove people that go to war because people that go to war put their life at risk.
People that go to war, we include
about wars.
We include
when it comes to that one. War is a different territory entirely.
No. So
I like suicide bombing. Suicide bombers are committing suicide.
Now, here's another thing. Even if we remove war, right? I still believe that the number is still largely in favor of the people that are atheists. Even if you just say pure suicide bombing and whatever.
How?
Did they kill more people?
No, people that kill suicide bombers kill themselves. We are account for their death in this situation.
They choice of killing.
This is about suicide, like killing yourself. So I'm sure these people factor dying. It's about
on yourself
and dying and losing your own life.
So, no. What you are exempting is all the people that died in the suicide act.
That's not suicide. They are not relevant to the suicide matter.
You are counting on head count of people that kill themselves.
That's what suicide is.
Even at that, I believe that that's more from religious end. If you go and do the wider search.
No, there's no wider search because
the American Journal of Psychiatry. Actually, I've checked other ones, but I did not see a solid name.
What data point are they giving reference of? What are the events that they count within their data set in terms of comparison? What are the events that they count? Because they are counted. Now you are removing war, for instance. What other factor did they remove?
I think people that die in war did not kill themselves.
No problem. I'm just giving you context. What other data have you considered that they check? I'm saying in terms of individual killing, Maybe they are counting
that
that.
kill
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
We're not about
They
death.
kill
We're about
themselves,
people
not-
that kill
I am
themselves.
agree with, I already
Okay.
get that part.
People that kill
I'm
themselves.
saying if it's based on people that kill themselves,
Yeah,
I
exactly,
still believe
yeah.
they are more killing on religious end than in atheist camp.
So we are going to ignore
So-
American journal data.
And then we say
and then-
It's not about strong American. I'm saying go and check their metric. Their factor have a lot of other form of personal harm that leads to death that are made in that area. They have only
Like
they
which
only
one?
account for.
like
You
which
can
one?
go and do that
Like
better
which
search.
one? I don't know. Their own is basically.
That's why
Their
I'm-
own is basically.
That's why I'm
Their own is
giving.
basically people that kill themselves.
That's why I'm giving.
I think that's a
That's
basic
why I'm
data.
giving instance of suicide bombing as part of.
And that's an example of people that kill themselves.
They did not.
So,
they did not practice that
you
their data.
cannot say
Go
that
and
because
check it.
that's
Go and
suicide.
check it. And check it.
I think anybody that kills themselves is who they are dealing with because they call it suicide. Is anybody that kills himself? So that's suicide. So even
I will
those
look.
suicide
I will look
bombers and
further.
everybody-
I will look further on that.
Because
That's so I
now-
can point it out.
Now
to
let
you.
me even point out that maybe we have a kind of what's the name warped whatever we call it about suicide bombers. Suicide bomb. When last did we hear about a suicide bomber? Let me give you an example.
Mhm.
And then even when it was very common, we might have like maybe 10 suicide bombings in a year. Not like it's like everyday occurrence or something like that. So
Mhm.
nothing special about suicide bombers to the point that it will start inflating that data to the point of important difference. Really, when we are talking about how many suicide bombers have made the news.
Okay.
So which shows that even if it's ignored, but I know that that's included because this is about people that kill themselves.
Also, all the people that did martyrdom in the name of certain religion are not included.
So the method.
That's the definition of suicide.
The
is very
method.
clear. Someone the method.
The method.
Let me hear.
Depressed impatients who report belonging to one specific religion or describe themselves as having no religion affiliation were compared in terms of their demographic and clinical characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
Results. Religious unaffiliated subjects had significant more lifetime.
What type of people did they say they keep track of?
Depressed impatients who reported
Depressed
belonging
what?
to
I've told you the factor. I've checked this thing for. That's why I'm trying to be very careful with you. They have checked the data before. What they are accounting for are more like a subset of form of suicide killing. A very small strata of people that have expressed some form of depression, that they whatever. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm saying you should be very careful. If you are looking at a wider search range of, is this clearly a part of a suicide mission? You are going to see that it's more is done in the name of religion than ever. Even if you are saying, I'm saying now, let me point you to something.
All other things point to the fact that someone is going to commit suicide aside from depression.
No, this is why I want to point to you. You might not be depressed and end up committing suicide. Does that make sense to you? You might not be you might not visit any form of what's it called? American whatever to attack your depression before you commit suicide. You are most likely going to find an atheist type trying to follow a medical procedure in order to attack their depression. So the data is largely skewed on those grounds. Even if you are looking at it, a happy, very vibrant person may die in the name of their religion tomorrow morning. It's like that. So I know those people will not be falling into the category of depressed people before committing suicide. Okay. So if you are saying that if you are an atheist, you are a depressed atheist compared to a depressed religious, are you likely to commit suicide? I accept it as a fact. That's why I said if skin no food, no poo body. If you are not, I'm going to let me be clear. I'm not. This is not a point I'm trying to because don't point in the team. We are not arguing. These are people and people choices. So if you are looking at, if you are looking at this strata, I will say if you cannot be exempted from the society and be okay with it, because that's one of the problems you are going to have with being an atheist. It's fact that, for instance, now I have record of 2 or 3 girls that I say they cannot date me or have a relationship because I'm an atheist, right? So there's that on ground that I will not deny as a fact. So if you are depressed, if you are a depressive type and you are considering whether to be atheistic or not, I would rather suggest that you find a religion that fits you.
So I think that was what
I'm accepting that as a fact.
That's what
saying
brought up
that when
depression.
it comes to the broader perspective of suicide, it's not even in the same category at all.
This is why I brought in question.
To be honest,
what you are saying now is that what you are saying
at all.
with what you just said now, you are saying that atheism cannot be run at scale.
I'm not saying atheism cannot be run at scale.
No, because now what you said is that if you are this so person, you should not be an atheist. Maybe you
like
should
too many criteria.
Like you are giving too much
No.
And-
no. Let me be precise with you.
Okay,
If
maybe
saying
you have
that-
to be precise.
so that it's not be like I'm saying atheism cannot. It's just the same way they will say, oh, you know, you have to carry the body of Christ, yada, in Christianity. They will say, if you are this, if you still want to live in the world, if you want to smoke, if you want to drink, if you want to party, if you want to see women, blah, 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 you cannot be a follower, you cannot be a Christian. I think that's what I'm setting here.
This is different. This is quite different because
Why is it different?
it is something you should not do. It's not. They won't say that because you are not. You haven't be. You are still committing sin, and then you cannot become a Christian. It is only a way to get better. Now, compared to
what do you mean by better? Exactly.
No, to improve in
you
the
need to
religion.
decide. What do you mean better? I'm also saying improve in not having a religion.
Now,
I'm just giving you
the point
criteria.
now is that so a person is depressive. Are you trying to tell him to stop being depressive? Is it like it's a talking thing that you should stop being
No,
depressive?
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you are depressive, you need more community of people. And if you understand that atheism is not like the especially in Nigeria, atheism is not like the second largest or the third largest body of community, and you barely find a community where atheists are even sitting and gathering together. So most likely, I would say find a community for yourself.
Still the same thing. You cannot run it as scale. You can't just tell anybody
It's
to
too
become
different.
an atheist.
I
can tell you to become a Christian. I can tell him to become a Christian. I can tell everybody it's like that. That's the burden of religion. Now, atheism, you cannot tell everybody to become an atheist. It is not in their best interest. It is not in everybody's best interest to be an atheist.
The same way you cannot tell everybody to be a Christian.
That is why we are talking about atheism today. We have talked about Christians, why everybody cannot become a Christian.
The same way, no, you are the one that brought the Christianity into the equation, and I'm telling you, the same way you cannot just go to North, find one allergy or find one religious one, and then go to where they are Sunni Muslim, and all of a sudden you say you have to become a Christian. There are criteria to everything in life. I'm not accepting that as a fact. And we don't need to be arguing these nuances over nonsense. Can we talk to the body of problem? I'm saying there are people that you know that exempting yourself from the large body of. It's just like you want me to deny the fact that atheist is everywhere. Or you want me to deny that the fact that Christianity and religious people are everywhere. And that atheist is everywhere. You can just be okay. I think that's one of the good things of being an atheist. Is that in the most part of it, you are not just somebody that your pastor is sleeping with your wife, all of a sudden you become an atheist. In the most part of it, what you are doing a large part of the day is thinking about, is there a possibility there is God? Is there a possibility there is no God? Is it rational? Is it logical? Is it sensible? You know what I'm saying? It's about making decisions all through. It's about using all the focus of your brain, all the different compartments and departments of your brain. So essentially, I'm telling that to that reasonable person, if you understand that you're a very depressive person, you need community around you. So even if you are going to become a cultural Christian, you may not believe in God, you may not believe whatever, you may think all the idea is bogus. But that does not mean you should live a body that can cater for you. That does not mean you should live. It's not like the same way school is a scam. No, let me be done. Just the same way you say school is a scam, for instance. It doesn't mean that being in a community of people that are trying to educate themselves is not one of the best things you can ever do for yourself.
I personally do not agree with how you painted one atheist is, but I think we get back to that because I've not even made my own point, so it will not be worth it for me to drag that part. Maybe when I get to my own part of it,
you can, but you get what I'm trying to make. I'm not arguing with the fact that, but don't make sure the word that atheism cannot be done as this is not an organization.
No, it is the same thing you are talking about.
This
atheism cannot be what everybody is doing.
This is not an organization. The same way Christianity cannot be what everybody is doing. The same way Islam is not what everybody can be doing. What are you talking about?
So what is the point of the discussion we have been having all along?
If what?
If it is not because we think what is better what is better for the university student that is watching this video, what is better for him to choose?
So now
that's the point now. Is that not the point? And now you are saying it is not for everybody.
Don't confuse that with the idea that you have to decide where you fit in the boxes, right? For instance, now your dad is sponsoring your academics. You don't have any other source of income. All of a sudden, you say you want to be self-proclaimed public speaking atheist. How do you want to fund your life? So there's a lot of reasonability that have to come into the table. This is not about hanky-panky that a book somewhere is saying. This is about me telling you how life look like. You might strongly believe that there's no God. That's okay. You might strongly believe that the Bible is capping and coming up with stuff. You may strongly believe that all of the data that we have on our phone does not point to any God. That's okay. But I'm telling you, it's not like another religious belief where you say, no, I'm an atheist. So because of that, I set brick and mortar like this. I cut away myself from my family. We are not like these people that are telling you that, oh, God, Jesus illusion. Leave all your property. Leave your father. Don't bury your mother. And then all of a sudden you do this, you do that.
But
it's not like that.
The point is that
atheism is the idea that don't bobo yourself. There's no natural science that points to the fact that there is God. Simple.
You know, these are research. You does not account for the fact that maybe you are boboing yourself, or you are trying, you are an atheist inward, but you are trying to not be an atheist outside, so that people know.
But the data in itself,
we have being an atheist.
We have checkmate the data itself. It's only from people that express depression, report of their depression, and we are actually in counseling for depression, then they commit suicide. How many people in churches do that? Go to an actual what's called medical practice, a psychiatric home, to actually talk about their depression. Let's take Nigeria for instance. How many? Let us be realistic. We don't need to argue because we want to argue. We want to make real point and educate people at home. I'm not interested in Balabulu. So if you look at it, how many people go to their pastor instead? How many people go to their imam instead? And if you are talking about America, whatever, we are talking majorly to Nigerians, and that even if you are putting in global perspective, even in foreign countries, how many people go to their medical practitioner when they are religious? They go to their pastor when they are experiencing any form of psychiatric episode. They go to that. So
what you are saying now, you do not have any stats for it. Because you are just saying that even anywhere
I may not have any stats for it, but I have experience to back it, which is a form of data point in science.
You have been around.
Which is limited.
It's very limited, of course. I'm not saying this is a fact in the public domain. I'm not saying this is a scientific verified data. I'm saying based on my personal experience, these are some of the things I've observed.
Dialogue now.
And that's why I'm having irrational. Your experience.
Now,
if you are saying that this is irrational, that your experience can count as a data point for certain data, and then you need to specify as such. Not like you want to grant the same way you are fact checking.
You know the problem of experience. Do you know the problem of experience? Do you know the problem of experience? Now you ask me that, do I believe there is God? Do I know if there is God? I can say I have experience that there is God. I have the experience. I feel it. The experience I have the experience that there is God. And I cannot explain it to you because I just cannot explain it to you.
I understand what you are talking about. I don't have any data in that regard to verify it. But I can tell you, based on what I've observed, I've seen that people go to. I have been to churches.
Me, I've observed something different.
You may have
we have a standard here. We have a standard here. So let's go with that standard.
But I'll tell you from a scientific point of view, personal experience is where you start with hypothesis in scientific research. You have a hypothesis. You proceed to say, oh, I can create a theory out of it. My theory that I'm giving you right now, you can fashion, you may break in over 2,000 data, you may break over 1 million data, but you can leave that to our audience, whether 1,000 or 500 or 1 million people that are going to watch this, to go and check it, whether it's aligned with their own experience too, that most likely when you are religious, you are going to report your psychiatric episode, your depressive moment, most likely with your pastor than with a psychiatric whatever. Even in some churches, if you go and report yourself to a psychiatric home, in fact, in society like our own, the moment you go to any psychiatrist to diagnose you, that's a big sign, a big red flag for the fact that
the funny part about this is the fact that even all these cheap atheists in Nigeria, I'm coming all these cheap atheists in Nigeria that just come around and say they are. Which one they go to? What's it called? Therapist. So as a cultural, whether
I don't know. It's
a cultural thing in Nigeria, regardless of whether you are an
going by experience.
People don't do that one.
So that doesn't.
I don't think religion matters in that regard at all. It's just a cultural thing. We don't go to.
So now, based on the reported data, what they find is that the people that are not religious, that are expressing depression are most likely to commit suicide if you are not religious. I accept that based on that data that is made available to the public domain. If there are other data from another department, we can look into it. But that does not mean that atheism cannot be run as scale, because it's not an organization. It's not a religious belief. It's not a religious gathering. It's not a religious philosophy. It's just that the idea that you don't believe there's God, that the data pointing from all these religious people, all these religious books, doesn't point to anything like God.
You know what I think about it? What I think about it is that atheism is for just some set of few people. maybe they will call themselves elite or whatever they will call themselves.
The way I think about it is that the way I think about
it's not an advantage for anybody. It's not just something that you can just say
the way I think about it is that
it's not something you can tell anybody that it's better you become an atheist. It's better you become an atheist because there are reasons why it's not better to become an atheist.
The way I think about it is that atheism is a position that you come through by interrogating data. It's not something I can school you into. It's not something I can lecture you into. That's why we don't have organization like some certain gathering that is. It's something like maybe after you find that I look at this data, it doesn't make sense to me. I look at this person is asking me for certain money. And anytime I give them money, it doesn't translate to any form of practical results in my life. Anytime I call on to God, I believe that He's going to wake up my dying father or whatever. He's going to make it to the wedding of my whatever. You find out that it doesn't work out. Atheism is a position you come to after trying to interact with God, and you find out that there's nothing like that. It's not this. I think I really love the people that come up with the God hypothesis, which is like they assume God and then they stress test it. So it is a position after you stress test your idea of God, it doesn't work out. It's a position you come to. If it works for you, I believe fundamentally that if you have any certain belief, let's say the idea that, I'm always the lucky one, right? You should go out in the world, facing every part of your life as being the lucky one. So if you believe God is working for you, of course, do it. Enjoy yourself. But if you believe that you have finally discovered that you are better off, having an aesthetic belief and not depending on your pastor finding a revelation and figuring out stuff for you, then you should. It seems like is that position you come to for yourself. It's not something I'll try to school you into. It's not something I'll try to bribe you into. It's not something I'll try to lecture you into. It's not one of those. I'm not trying to sell atheism here. I don't care. If you believe in God, why do I care? The only thing is that don't now use your belief in God to bomb one of my daughter or son.
Why not?
That's the point. So if you say, I that don't believe in God, all of a sudden can be subjected to the pain of you believing in your God and doing something to injure all of us. That's why we have a problem. That's why I will talk about why I don't believe in God. And maybe someone can reason along with me. But there are 8 billion people in this world. I can only reason why true. And they can only argue with me. And then we try to see that they are not convince me that there's God.
I think that's already why we are here on Rational Dialogue.
Exactly.
So maybe we should...
Let's have Mike from other camp, because which other religion follow? Islam. Islam, let me hear you, because this guy that is talking about depression. A lot of people are dying of depression every day and they don't tell you or committing suicide.
Higher rate is an higher rate, which has been established that higher rate
I'm
atheism.
I'm sure
so that's the point.
I'm sure that's an American data. Find me in Nigerian data.
No, it's not an American data. This data actually include like China, that is an atheist country. They have more suicide, more suicide rates
in China.
Now
exactly, that's brilliant. So if you don't want to commit suicide, please don't become an atheist. Dance. I'm not trying to sell any religion, so I don't care. If you say there's more depression, please, you are listening to the data. There's more depression in not believing in God. I'm that kind of person. I'm very practical.
I feel like everybody too that had been on National Dialogue, nobody was trying to sell their religion, including the agnostic. Me, for instance, I was not trying to sell this to anybody. If you like, come on, your grandparents do that.
It's not a religious.
I think everybody on the same plane right now.
I think the irony of this matter is the atheist man has been the one trying to sell his atheist ideas.
And now he's saying that no.
That's saying he's not for everybody. But that aside. Salam alaikum, everybody.
Don't make that mistake, because don't make the mistake. I think I'm trying to sell atheism to people.
Okay.
I'm not trying to. It's not something you sell to people. It's something they have to reason their way to as a position, right? So, for instance, now, if you find out that it's going to be more practical for you to not believe in God, I may. Let me take you back in time so that you can understand where I'm coming from. I'm a subjectivist, right? I'm a rational subjectivist, which is, I said, experience is based on how you unlock data, right? For instance, now, people will say, we are sitting on a solid chair. I believe that we come to understand that we are sitting on a solid chair. There's nothing like that ever before when we are starting out. Is that over time that we come, even when we started from wood to whatever. If somebody will say that this is a tree now, technically they are right, but it has been transformed over time. So I believe that you can be. Someone was asking me a couple of days ago that can someone like Bishop Oyedepo be deceiving people? Can it be? I said that you don't get the life. You don't get to experience the fullness of life. You get to experience the life you focus on. So if you have 8,000 audience, and you say one of them is going to build a house this year, the chance is that 1 out of 8,000 people will build a house. So if you now believe that your God did this for one of your church members, you are going to be right. You understand? And then now imagine that you have 200,000 staff church members, and say one of them is going to buy a car, one of them is going to build a house. You are most likely going to be right, because 2 people out of 200,000 we buy a car, we build a house. So I believe that you don't get to experience life; you get to experience the life you focus on. Last year I was focusing on program for mobile development. I developed it out. This year I'm building a fashion brand, and then that's it. Every year, if you find something to focus on like that, you get to produce results out of that. So I believe that most of the time, people that are focused on their life, their energy, in some certain form of religious belief, they tend to manifest things that tend to correlate with the father as if those God are working. So I'm not the type that say, oh, leave the things that are working for you. If you find out that community of people saves you, right? I'm more of an advocate of you than an advocate of religious belief, or an advocate of an atheistic position. You must be an atheist because being an atheist is the best thing in the world. I'm saying you should consider being an atheist if being theistic is not favoring you.
You are defining your own atheism. Like you are giving atheism your own version.
Too many contexts.
It is like your big version of atheism.
It's like a Christian that is saying that it is the Holy Spirit that has to minister to you.
No.
That's what I'm hearing.
No. If you ever see anyone arguing for atheism, whether you are reading Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins, or whatever, anybody that you ever argue for atheism, none of these scholars have ever argued for atheism on the ground that, atheism is jollof rice or whatever. What we always argue for is the humanism that should come first. And go and look up at all atheistic books. Anything that is trying to say there's no God. There's always a very strong argument against why would there be Boko Haram? Why would there be suicide bombing? Why would there be this? Why would there be? If you believe there's God, why would there all this? Earlier today I made a content while I was at Agodi Garden. I made a content about the fact that I find most Christian brother, tongue-speaking, Christ-loving, heaven-bound brothers often leave the practicality of your life, what they can do right now to produce results, to say, I have a church program by 6. I have this, I have that. They do all this. I have NIVG, and then you'll be wondering, when will you ever build a career in your use? Why you ever? So the sum total of all atheistic arguments is that if it's going to make you more foolish, maybe you shouldn't do it. If it's going to make you,
will make you more foolish.
If being theistic is going to make you more foolish, if it's going to make you look dumb, maybe you shouldn't do it. That's the grand one. So if you look at
but you usually do not use
so less assertive than what atheism that I heard about from everybody. That made Christopher Hitchens talk about. Everybody that you mentioned, Richard Dawkins. That's so less assertive than they always are. And they are very, very assertive.
Many of these books,
they always say you are God. They always say that people are still doing this.
And let me tell you, if you ever see any of Christianizing, even though it's very vulgar.
Wait, not be one of them is Samaris.
One of them is Samaris. Yes, thank you very much.
About what?
About the fact that even Jews are even better
than on this ground. I remember
on which subject matter?
Believing in God and morality.
Like he was comparing them with Muslims.
That Jews are more.
When we are talking about these are theistic people.
That Jews are more what? You are not making any rational argument for it. What is the point you are trying to make?
They are largely better. Like
in what context? Now I want you to track back the argument so that you can understand what I'm talking about.
No, like
what is the argument about?
Talking about violence by Muslims. So it wasn't about believing in God. Like
no, it wasn't.
Let's start back. Let's take it.
It wasn't about rationality. Like these people are far better than Muslims when it comes to this.
Rationality to what purpose? I'm going to what purpose? To what end is he arguing for that rationality?
No, like being rational. Like that's just basically.
I don't think it's
more violence. Discussing violence.
So let's say violence that you're talking about. And now when we talk about Amalekites, when we talk about whatever Lekites that are in the Bible,
exactly.
Is a subset of which particular religion?
What are those?
It's Christianity.
No, they are
Jews.
Of course. What is saying?
And so no, it does. You cannot.
These are way more assertive than printing.
So
I don't understand this version of it.
Wait. Sorry. That's me saying that you are more like branding this like
I'm not branding anything.
Aruno suit.
I'm
branding this.
No,
different from what Samaris and his.
And
no. Let me.
The four horsemen. The four horsemen are very certain.
Very assertive.
We are very assertive on the fact that if you are being religious, you are going. There's a high tendency of violence from this camp, and we are pointing out the data. You get the point. So if you look at it, you always track that the argument. The argument is always there are more violence from this camp. These people are better. Jews are better in that light or whatever. Although I do not agree. That's a lie. Because if you look at it, even they have documented this violence. The Jewish people that he's talking about, whatever, they have documented violence, even in their books. So I don't agree with him, obviously. And that's one of the things about being an atheist. So essentially, what I'm saying is that even if you look at what I'm not building. I'm not building.
The kind of atheism that is following the
having this Aruno atmosphere. I get it, but the point I don't want us to miss out, right, is the fact that atheists put a stick in the ground on things like their religious sponsors violence, right? And we don't want that. You understand? So that's the kind of assertiveness. It's not about
that. No, this guy. I saw a video where
another one is okay.
It was Dawkins, this guy that I had an interview with Jonathan Peterson. Yeah. There was a video where he was saying how ridiculous it is that in this generation people still believe in God. And you are saying that it is
imagine
just,
you don't really care. Somebody that is
like he's
trying to say based on the practicality of God and reason and life. That's not his point. His point is that people are wrong to be believing in God, which is what atheism is.
No, it's not what atheism
is. It's not what atheism is. Belief in God. After your own conclusion that this is why would you think it should make sense to any other person that there should be God when that's the scientific ground on it at the moment? Why should it make sense to you that you should start saying that I know people can answer?
What you are saying is more like I am a subjective. That's why
that's like John saying that I get
let me take you somewhere. Let me take you somewhere. They making a claim on the guy like that is based on the data they have interrogated, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just the same way we are looking at suicide rates and say, there's a higher chance of suicide if you are in this camp, right? Accepting that as a fact, right? There's accepting as a fact that there are violence from these people. There is getting drunk on oxymoron and imagery and metaphors in this camp. There's all of that. So that's if they are being assertive, I think they are being assertive on those ground, on the ground that this set of foolishness are in this camp, right? This idea that you can go and sacrifice somebody at one Uru camp, or the fact that you can kill a lot of people and call it atheism, or you can sacrifice one person, or one person will be delulu enough to say, leave your dead father, leave your mother, and this thing, just follow me because you are very sweet. Or somebody that can tell you, in the face of violence, if they slap you, give them your second cheek, blah blah blah. You know, is that they are being assertive on these things are foolish, right? I get that part, but primarily the argument is on those things that are foolish that are coming from the terms of there's God, and now on the assertiveness of whether there's no God, you know, that one is assertiveness on scientific evidence. There's no God. Why do you believe in this? Is the process at which we interrogate data. There's no God we are finding.
The funny thing about what you just said earlier. You said if it will make you more sensible to be, and then being an atheist will make you more sensible. Maybe you should do it. What does that is that not denying everything that you have just been saying?
I know that's my personal opinion on that subject. You know, that's my personal opinion on that subject.
No, we are talking about an atheistic opinion about other subjects.
Not your
personal opinion. Nobody should be killing anybody, sacrifice anybody for any God. It's my personal opinion. So it's not about personal opinion.
But if you are thinking from the collectivist atheist view, the argument is that not believing in God is better all around for all of us. In the sense that, things are going to be based on rationality, things are going to be based on, psychology, blah, blah, blah. These are going to be based on real experiences, things that we can observe, data that we can point at, what's better for us, the law, what it has to say on the subject, blah, blah, blah.
That's why I personally, we really like us to quickly move on so that we get,
we
get to how good that has done us in these years.
So, this time, what's your...
Before I proceed, I would like us to stay within the spectrum of atheism.
Okay.
Let's not move on. This is my personal view or personal. Let me.
I am a subjectivist, and that's why I always quote it back like that. And I'll point it out when I'm making such personal preference.
Be calling yourself subjective atheist.
I'm
an atheist, and
because there's a tiny line between capping, within the other side seeing it as capping and
no. I get what you guys are trying to point out, which is that I should stand with the atheist. The atheist arguments are always presented, and I'll tell you what I personally. I have a lot of followers, and obviously I have the call of the responsibility. Let me put it that way. To be practical with them, to be rational with them, to give them, the best of advice I can find for them. Which is like, you that church is sponsoring your school fees. You that I will not send you school fees, so so I'm relaxed. But I'm telling you that this is the argument from the atheist.
So if you allow me to say something,
the atheist school of thought.
If you allow me to say something, I will say, don't worry. We do not have any issue with your personal atheistic view.
We only have issue
together.
So we just want this to be within.
So this is about atheism.
Because I never want to about Dan Smith's religious
people that, in one word, people that express, according to America, whatever, it might be sponsored, it might be error, it might be whatever. In one word, people that say they are not religious, they are most likely going to commit suicide. So that is something for you to consider. Let's move on to next.
Okay, salam alaikum now, people. Before I proceed with my question once again,
which is,
I would like everyone of us to view me as not as a Muslim, right?
Okay.
I want to exclude myself from being a Muslim this night. So now moving forward, if I don't do that, there will be some clashes as we proceed. So as we proceed now, my question will be based on philosophical materialism or naturalism, right? Which means for this thing to exist, there's something before this, right? For this camera to exist, there's something before the camera.
That comes
exactly, before. Which means something cannot be without something, right? Mm-hmm. So now I would like to ask you about how do life come about? According to the teachings or the knowledge of atheism,
we have a limited set of data in that department, right? In terms of all the ground knowledge. But what we have found is that we have come here to this point through natural selection, pure natural selection. That's how our complex humans over billions of years have come to evolve, right? So what is at the starting point? That's one of the key argument that they call the cosmological argument, right? And there are different arguments in that department. The technological designer, there's an intelligent designer, and then there are different debunking it. But I have a more stronger argument to present, and I call it the "we are God" theory. You understand? So let's imagine a God, right? Let's imagine that there's a God that created all of us, right? Now, try to be in his footstep for once. How will he think about who created him? Or her? Or she?
This night, I'm an atheist.
I'm
asking you a question.
I'm using it. Yeah, I'm using the...
Now, what it means is that both me and you believe there's no God, right? So let's not paint the scenario of let's not involve God. Let's not involve God. Let us study. There's no God here now.
The argument I'm trying to make for you, we track it back to where I'm going. So let's imagine a God like that believe that he created everyone and I or whatever. You understand? What would that person be thinking about who created him? No, I want your honest and before I give you the direct answer on that subject.
You do not believe in God now.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
Maybe we should use another example, like if there is a creator of something, what will the creator be thinking about is creator? Maybe we should use that language.
Good. If there's a ultimate creation, creator that created something, what would that creator be thinking in terms of who created him? Won't that person be like exactly like us? Confused about, did somebody else created me? If I'm the God that created this heaven and earth, is somebody else created me? Or if I just find myself in this space where I'm creating things, did somebody else created me? That's a question I believe that if we are the last resource, it's the question that anything that we are painting before us, we even ask himself or ourselves. That's why I believe rationally. The person. So I believe reality is reality. This is what we find. And there are many arguments in that. You can meet a random atheist on the way, and they'll tell you different arguments that they have. Oh, Big Bang theory. There's a Big Bang that happens somewhere. They will see somebody that say they call it pandemology or something like that. That all of life just exists. It's reality is reality. I believe that strongly. Reality is what we have. Is the plane that we have. We have not have all the data to say this is the beginning point. This is what we can track to the last day, and this is the moment that it's happened or whatever. Because it's so hard to instantiate the instant of itself, right? It's one of the limitations of logic. It's so hard to instantiate the instant of itself, and I believe that we have that problem even in infinity. Any form of data that is infinity for time of data sets, there's always that point. Even if you are tracking yourself, you have to extinguish before you know what happened before your existence. If you can track yourself, then you have to disappear into the state you were before you exist, before you can know the state you were before you exist. So the best of argument I found in that depend is the idea that this is reality. Looking for where it come from, looking for whatever, is something we may not end up finding, but it's something we are looking at. That's the current stand from the atheist school of thought on the subject matter. We are still looking for where we can say, evidently, this is where it comes from. So essentially, I believe strongly that if we even, that's why, the reason why I don't believe in the creationism school of thought, that there's something that created it, is the fact that if you put yourself in the shoe of a creator, you understand that the creator will not know who created him. So he just taught you all the way down. Like, so if we cannot find it, really, if we cannot find it, there's no point thinking that somebody created it. If we cannot find the creator, there's no point thinking that somebody created it. There's no point manifesting it. Because that will be what will happen to a last resort agent. If this table is the first ever thing, if you are trying to say there's supposed to be something else, the only thing the table will be asking, what else then can possibly exist before me? And if you cannot logically find it, I don't know any other stupid way we can do. I would say we are doing magic thinking. We're just manifesting stuff out of the blue.
Okay, now, before coming on this podcast, I made some research and I get to know from the majority of the encounters I made online about atheism, right? Majority of atheists believe in Big Bang theory, right? They believe the universe came from nothing. I'm coming. They believe the universe came from nothing. Everything just blasted, and we have the Milky Way, we have the sun positioned, and we have the moon positioned. We have the Earth, the Mars, and position, right? Now, that now sparked the curiosity in me. Now, okay, if you want to argue logically, and if most atheists believe in the theory of naturalism, right? If that's one of the core of atheism, right? Is it logical to say this thing exists? This thing just has to just exist from nothing.
It's logical to
I'm
say
coming. Some atheists believe the universe existed from nothingness. Like they say there was some energy that came together and blasted, right? That energy, how did it come to be?
How did they all of a sudden manifest that energy?
From? No, I'm going somewhere.
Where did it come from?
That's why I say reality. If you are trying to track that, right? We were not there when it happened, right? If we try to track that, we always keep tracking, right? It doesn't mean there's a God that manifested it. But I believe
we are not talking about God here.
It does not mean nobody is talking about God. It is what you are saying as well does not mean that some energy came about. It does not mean it at all.
And then another thing is that the Big Bang theory is a theory. Do you know how many things have to happen before a theory even become grounded or become a law or a theory. You understand? Maybe there's a creationism law. There's so much that still needs to go on. And we are not there to observe that data. We are not there to see several instances of that thing happening to account for it. But we have not, it doesn't mean that we can manifest any of that thing that we have not practically studied to figure it out. It's the same way that sometimes you just put weed, you just plant something and the weed will manifest itself out of the ground. It doesn't matter whether it's on whatever. Over time that
there is explanation for weed that is just growing. There is what do you call this thing? Disperser. There is there is this thing that is bringing the seed. There is matching of the ground that your shoe will carry the seed and all of that.
And plant it in other location. Exactly. But I'm saying that it is over time that we come to unveil that. Just the same way the Bible will make claims of that, sickness and whatever are coming from God. And then we discover germ theory. You understand? And then we discover that
so
there's...
those cock and bull exist within
it.
communities.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not cock and bull. That's not cock and bull. That's a theory.
All those manifestations.
All those manifestations of energies that started all of a sudden.
That's what I'm saying.
Those
exist in the atheistic.
What do you mean by... we need to precise on what do you mean. It's like... It's an inquiry into the past, right? And there are several inquiries that are still going on that subject. It's not as if this cock and bull story. It's like it's tracking, and they are trying to find out whether that's the case.
It's true energy does not. True energy does not like inquiry to me.
A repeat of it. We have not seen. We cannot even logically trace it to that point. If you agree with me, we cannot logically, unless we try to manifest energy all of a sudden, we can't possibly come to that conclusion. So why do atheists find it easy to accept that? Because this is widely accepted, like you said, among atheists. Now, why do they accept that? But hold on, wait, sorry. But why do they accept that, but draw the line when it comes to manifesting God?
Because
for instance,
I like the fact that he says it's subjective. It sounds like it's even 1 in a million.
It's 1 in a million, for real, to be honest.
Yes, so
1 in a million.
An average atheist, when they are giving their explanation, and then even when you check majority of what they give online, you will see the fact that how they glorify the
I don't think it is like you guys are painting it. It's like, the way almost all laws, all theory are being gathered in natural science is the way they are trying to pursue the Big Bang theory, whether we can find it. People are still trying to disprove it. People are still trying to find. So sometimes in math, if you have noticed this thing, they used to manifest problems. They will come up and then they'll try to solve for it, and then they'll see whether that is the case. There are times that we do that in mathematics, and then we try to solve for it. So while they were solving for it, it may become popular, it may become sensational. It doesn't necessarily mean that has become the case, and nobody's grounding it as this is what happened. There's actually a big bang story. Most people may believe in it. The same way
most atheists
may believe in it.
Yeah, most atheists may believe in
God,
it.
when it comes to God,
because they know that you have manifested
those
two energies not manifested.
That one is okay. That one is okay to believe that. To believe God, that one is
just believe there's an energy.
The difference here is that you manifested God as a substantive fact. They are doing this inquiry as an inquiry. The entirety, that's why they see even retain it as a theory. The entirety is still an inquiry. Though there must be a Big Bang in the future, this is mathematical equation that prove it. People are still trying actively to disprove the fact that, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that in matter. There's nothing. There's still a lot of inquiry on that subject matter. It's not as if this thing that people just believe, Big Bang theory is what created all of us. Is this thing that people are still trying every day? The scientists on this subject matter are still trying every day to say, this is not the case. What could possibly be the case?
Without a scientist. We are talking about atheists. And now, atheist is different from his.
I met several atheists. They used to tell me that was how that. And I do explain to them that I hope they know this. They said yes, but it's still more believable than. I'm like,
And the thing is that most people easily conclude plausibility as conclusive fact. As a conclusive fact. If something is more plausible than other, doesn't mean that's the case. Let me give you an example. I went to I was in Abuja. I flew to Lagos, so I went to a friend's house. You understand? This friend we have slept together before, as in actually have sex. But I was in a house one night. You understand? And we didn't do anything. So what is more plausible? So, but what really happened? So there's a chance that most people find it plausible, which is like the case. They find plausible that that's the case. But I believe that we are still on that journey You know, so most even a rational this thing atheists understand that we are saying let me put this to you. I will not say most atheists are rational. You know, don't confuse the two. Some a huge part of atheists that actually are atheists are rational.
I like that unveiling. I like that.
So that rational dialogue. There's not the idea that atheism is what's rational. Can you hear how it is actually
No,
rational dialogue?
Let me put this out to you. It's not everybody that could walk up to you and say I'm an atheist that you think they are brilliant too. It's not the same thing. It's not everybody that walks up to you and say they are rational or they are thinking about this thing practically. So what I believe is that, if you say there's a Big Bang theory, is that you ask, what is a theory? You understand? Is this set of hypotheses that, that have been put some body of work into, that, they have been proven mathematically to a point. So what I have seen is the whole argument is that mathematically talking about it, and then if you talk about mathematics is just a construct of the word. It's not necessarily the actual word. It's just a construct of the word. If you say there are 2 pencils on the table, you always know that the weight of one pencil may even be stronger than the other. But there are 2 pencils. So if you are doing the math, you say 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. And then one weight times 2 of the other. So math is always like that too. It's always even shaky. Even math that we build our own. So I believe that the equation of, there's a Big Bang theory at one point and end there, and couldn't tell us anything after that, is still not sufficient as a place where reality comes from. I strongly believe that. Most people who are atheists don't know that is the case. I will put this properly. Most people who are atheists don't know that that's the case. They thought it's like this way we are finding out that Pythagoras theorem works, right? Or this way we are finding out the angle of a right angle is 90 degrees, right? That kind of thing. Most people believe it's that assertive. It's not. It is a theory, and we are still looking into it, and there are still more inquiry on the subject, and people are still actively trying to disprove it. So, as far as I know, what is that mean for an atheistic school of thought is that we are still looking for the fact of whatever, the fact of where reality comes from. But so far that we can find, this is where we are. You understand?
So basically, atheists are like those Christians that are asking the question of where did God come from?
Okay.
Is that the case? They are on the same kind of like plane.
Where did God come from?
Yeah, like those guys is a kind of like those Christians or even the Sheshe people that believe that God is a Olodumare, that you cannot understand, that we don't know where he comes from. Like atheists are like, where did this sovereign body come from? They are like, where did we come from?
What's the mystery about this?
They did not include the middle factor part. But all of them are
what I see is that they are the type atheists are like everybody else. The only thing is that they have not manifested that there's a God somewhere that did it. Because they understand that if we are the last resort, right, we are exactly be in the same shoe of the people that are asking.
No, there are people who believe in God. They also think that they are also steady questioning, where did God come from? There are people who
that have manifested God created everyone, created us, and all of a sudden
everything.
And then they are now asking, where did God come from?
Exactly.
Now the problem they have made is that they have manifested, and
so the difference is not the manifestation, but the state of knowledge or the state of wisdom, understanding, as the case may be.
He's still looking for. He's still
the same.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same. I'm not agreeing with you that it's the same. They have manifested a middle guy.
No, but it does not matter. The middle guy does not matter anymore.
It does.
You
can't undertune the middle guy. You can't just say, let me give you an example of why.
We are on the plane where the middle guy does not matter anymore. We are looking for origin at this point.
Yeah. We are looking for origin. But
so let me give you an example. So I'm looking for an origin.
You don't need to give me an example. It's what you that you need to understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you are looking for an origin of a thing, right?
Okay.
If you have manifested a thing in between that doesn't have a grounding in this method you are using, right? Then you will have the problem.
No, in the method they are using, it has a grounding. Don't let us make their mistake. In their method, it has a grounding.
In their method.
That thing has a grounding.
And their method or whatever.
Yeah.
In their ontology, in their epistemology, that's exactly. I get it. But I'm talking, that's why I'm saying they are not the same now.
Okay, now let's follow through.
In the ontological research here is based on naturalism. It's based on natural science. What we can observe, what we can find, what we can touch, what we can taste, what we can, what we can equate, what we can count. It's on those data. Exactly. So that's the track. The track here has not find any God.
I totally understand that part.
The track here has not find any God or manifested a God to occupy that space.
So the answer everybody has at that point is what I'm concerned with. I'm not talking about the how we are reaching it now. I'm talking about the methods. I'm not interested in the method. Now the answer we are getting is question mark on both sides.
There's still question mark on both sides. But so, now the reason why they are not the same is that the methodology here is based on practicality, rationality,
I get it. But I'm just saying that the solution,
the methodology
at this point in time,
the methodology there
question mark
have automatically created a creator.
No, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example.
Before saying that, where did the creator come? Let me tell you where the problem might arise. If you are trying to equate the two. This scam have manifested God. Now they are looking for where God is. The question have changed for them.
The question of I get, but the question is still the same. And let me tell you why.
The question is the question of origin. That's what we are trying to establish.
Okay,
it's a question of origin.
So it does not really change.
But now the thing is that two people are looking for different origins now. They are different for different origins. The scientific, statistic point of view are looking for the origin of the natural world that we can touch and feel. Where does it come from? These other schools have manifested a superior whatever, and now they are looking for the origin of a superior being that initially manifested that doesn't have any grounding in
the other parties.
No. In a way to inquire.
Let me give you an example.
Do you get
Let me give you a very practical example. So I used to do this a lot when I'm answering objective math questions.
Exactly.
So what I used to do is that I see x plus 3 equals to something. I just manifest an x. I just give it 2. Then I just see as a placeholder. I just use to calculate if it works. I write the answer. So now this is me that I manifested. I calculated. It's not. I'm getting question mark. Now somebody is doing. I'm going to solve this with the whatever method, almighty formula and everything, and we are both getting question mark. What differentiates us?
No.
When they start scoring,
what differentiates you is that you are most likely going to be wrong. Because you have manifested.
No, our answer at the end of the day, at the current time, at the time when we're submitting,
as of now, as of now, if you are saying that where it stands, that everybody is still looking for the question of origin. The difference now, I agree with you that everybody is still looking for the question of origin, but the difference is that somebody have manifested an originator.
I'm just saying that difference does not matter.
Now,
when it comes to scoring, when teacher wants to grade our work, it does not matter.
No, it does. If you have marked mathematics before, you know that
this is objective question. I'm not talking about
you can't say it's an objective question.
It's about the answer. That's what I'm saying. That's why I gave a practical example, a real life example of where what I've done before, and at the end of the day, I will not be able to circle.
It's not the reason why you cannot say it's not the same. One have make a leap that's not.
At the end of the day,
we had nothing to show for. The both of us had 0 to show for.
We agree on the fact that we all of us are still at a question mark. If you are, but no. Yes, the thing. All of us are still at a question mark on a low scale, right? But the difference now with the religious people is that they have already agreed on the origin of it. The origin of the origin,
which is the 2 that I picked,
that cannot be
graded right now.
That cannot be verified. That
has not been graded right now. Because even me, so now me that leaped, no answer. The person will not leap, we carry biro, everything. No answer. Wow, what's now
the difference is that the person that did not leap.
If anything, I'm the person that did not leap. I'll be like, since all of us they get any answer, I couldn't leap. Why don't leap again?
You answer the questions very fast.
Very fast. I'm gonna face my life with all. I'm gonna face other things.
No, it's not like that. It's not like that. This is rational dialogue. I don't want us to that might whatever. We are at a stalemate, right? That's what they call it. We are at a stalemate. But here's the problem with this type of stalemate. One stalemate makes people go and do Allahu Akbar and bomb.
I think we will get there.
That's what I'm going. One stalemate, allow people to rob other people of their money and whatever and all of those things are possible. All the problem of people.
We just have to establish that we are at a stalemate. That's why
it's a stalemate. With nobody has said,
then we go further.
Nobody can say that for a fact. I know the origin of a system and this is one person have just manifested one thing and then and is using that as a form of manipulation in scale, large scale. I think that's
makes sense. I like the fact
that I totally understand that what the leap has caused. Oh, thank you very much. So what the non-leap has caused. Now I think maybe I should just do a quick. I don't know that. This person was saying that this is what happened to suicide. No, this person is saying that we are at a stalemate. It's officially showing that we are at a stalemate. Not like anybody is showing answer.
No,
right
but don't confuse that stalemate to be equal or the same. Because one person has manifested God.
And by the end of this podcast, who we evaluate that this is a stalemate, and who like it will be like decision in when there's no KO. Because so far there's no KO. Maybe the atheists are scoring punches or whatever, but there's no KO. So we are going to judge by decision.
Let's go there. So what's your point?
So now I'm the Sheshe guy. Right? So let me adumbrate my point before going inside. Like my problem with atheism is atheism at scale. Number one. And number two is this unnaturalness. So now, number one problem, which is the atheism at scale, I would like to ask you a simple question. Do you think the world will be a better place if everyone is an atheist?
Do I think the world will be a better place? The question really has always been, what will replace it? Because it will be a new reality for all of us. So what I think primarily is that if we look at the problem that we have from religious scam right now, I think an atheistic world has the potential of more selfish pursuit of the world. And if that is properly managed, it can be very effective in rapid development of humanity.
So I like
it's a potential.
So you really believe that there's a potential that
we have a better world. If
now let me give you another question.
There's a
decent chance.
Yeah.
Now we are in
Nigeria. You are talking in hypothetical.
So we are in Nigeria. Do you think the world will be a better place if Nigerians all of a sudden stop? If Nigerians no longer believe in God and we are an atheistic state, for instance, do you think Nigeria will be a better place? With what you know about Nigeria and Nigerians.
And what you know about atheism.
Like we roll out atheism in the
most
curriculum and like catch them young type shit.
Like so that from child level.
So that it won't be like already
I think far more than anything else, I just think there should be more rationality taught in class. There should be more,
That's not the same, to be honest. Well, so that's why I know rationality does not mean that completely. So that's why I prefer the language of atheism should be.
I'm going somewhere. There should be more rationality taught in class. When that rationality leads people to, it's all of them to decide. So if Nigeria is an atheist country, I've not seen that word before. I don't know how that word will be.
Okay.
But I think I've suffered from the world that we currently have, right? And I've seen the things that people have done in belief that they can kill somebody for ritual, they can do a lot of, I read one pastor, raped several church members under the year they are daughters or sons of God. I've seen a lot that I've done in the names of religion. And I don't know how much. I've seen a lot of good too that are done in the name of religion, if I'm being practical. So how much will atheistic belief shape us? The first question is that we are going to have a problem of gathering. One of the big ways that Nigerians gather and meet up is this religious gathering. So what will we replace that with? That would be a problem asking. Another thing is that there are many welfare that comes from religious camps, right? For poor people, for this, for that.
So atheism will make people stop doing things like that.
I'm not saying they will necessarily stop doing things like that.
That's why I'm wondering.
People might give, people might do, but
then about the gathering, I don't think atheism is against gathering. I really do. I'm not.
I'm saying I'm in an organized way, because there's nothing like the church of atheists.
No, it does not have to be. I'm not saying that it does. Atheism not foster like that. It doesn't means people will not want to gather anymore. If there's.
For instance, now China is considered a very atheistic country, right? And they are doing well than Nigeria, for instance, and they have a large population. So I still see that possibility. I just know that in Nigeria, the Nigeria we currently have is going to take a long. It's like a stretch for us to manifest such world where it is everywhere.
No, I'm not trying to say it's stretch or anything. I'm talking about an imaginative world.
We don't even need to
It's
go.
a way to show that atheism is a better alternative. That's all.
We don't need to go
so
to.
Because if you can't answer this question, that to be honest, that if
we don't need to go to imaginative. I believe that a country like China is better than Nigeria. So we'll take it that as
you are trying to say that if they are more atheistic, if not you are more atheistic, if Nigeria is an atheistic state, we are going to be a better.
We are more likely to be like China.
If the answer to that is ever going to be no, I'm going to tell you that guys, we don't need this. I think we are going to be better off with it. I just consider all the factors. I would like to ask the Christian brothers, if Nigeria is a Christian country, do you think we'll be better off than we currently are?
I believe we will be better off.
Dansby, do you think we're better if we're a Muslim country? Josh, do you think if
people are agnostic?
So it's just that way. I think everybody. I can answer boldly that if everybody is an Isheshe person and we know what Isheshe is and everything. Like, no, not even if we are an Isheshe person.
Well, I will do more ritual.
I believe we'll be better.
I will be doing more ritual.
So that's where I'm going now, which is why I'm here. So now the thing is,
before you go ahead, you're saying that Nigeria will be
a better
at least
state.
Yeah, sure.
Like I give glory to God. Thank God I'm a believer. That we've had instances of countries that are atheistic states. Thank God we had. Thank God for Lenin. Thank God for Marx. Thank God for Lenin. And thank God for Stalin. We had an atheistic Russia.
Okay. What happens?
We had an atheistic Russia. Russia fell in the 1990s.
USSR.
Okay.
USSR, which was USSR, Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union fell in the 1990s. So what happened was that I think that was one of the darkest periods in human history. No kind of sacrifices of human being can be replaced by any religion. With this, I was surprised when I discovered that we've lost 500,000 people to Islamic extremism. But when it comes to state atheism being created, we lost 60 million souls. 60 million individuals.
Jesus.
60 million
60
individuals.
million.
Let me give you perspective. Hitler, who we believe is a villain, killed 6 million Jews.
Okay.
These people that I'm talking about, like these 60 million people that were killed, they are not external people. They are your own people. Like people from your own people.
Your president.
That's what people I'm talking about.
Wait. What you are saying is quite unimaginable because 60 million people account for the whole of England. Is more than the population of England. Like if you just surmass.
Exactly.
Do you mean that 60 million?
What you are arguing for here is a very technical debate.
No,
and I will take you there. I will take you there.
Okay,
let me finish.
Before you cook nonsense, these countries we are talking about used to have very, very strong religious ties to the Catholic beliefs. You understand? It's not some USSR that manifested. They have church belief. They have all of that.
Yes.
In their Orthodox Christian. So don't come here and say because one Stanley was accredited to be
That's the point. What happened was that what Stalin came to do, he came to abolish the orthodoxy. And that was his rollout. His plan was he developed a 5-year atheistic plan. This was a plan, and he rolled it out. And we have millions of bloodshed as a result of it. And the country collapsed at the end of the day. They were killing anybody that was not atheist. That was not an atheist. That as long as you are religious affiliated, you are going to die. They were sending them to the gulags. They were dying there, like unimaginable suffering that no religious body has created. And like even at a scale of magnitude, I'm talking about Islamic extremism killing 500,000 people in the last century. I'm talking about in this same last century, one century ago, like 60 million people died in the hands of this. You know when we were saying we're at a stalemate the other time. Now, when we start weighing this stalemate, let's weigh it very well. Because we are talking about in just
before you shoot yourself in the leg.
Okay.
Right?
I'm with you.
The same Stanley, on all the beds of the soldiers that committed this, whatever, they write in God we trust. So do you do your research to that?
That's very funny because that's a lie. Let me tell you why it's a lie. Let me tell you why that does not matter. Is that Stalin was clear on his goal and his agenda. 5-year atheist plan. And he was wiping out any symbol of God or Christianity.
That said is in God we trust. 5-year atheist that said is in God we trust.
Just because people were wearing a belt that had existed several years
before. How does that change the fact that and this is a litmus test for atheism
and anybody that was trying to believe in God was being exterminated.
Exactly.
So you don't try to use the God is just there.
That
That's
one-
not what we
that
are
don't
talking about.
mean-
We
that
are
don't
talking about
mean-
reality of
that
lost
was
lives
not
here. We are talking about people
Exactly.
dying here. So now, just because somebody who went to do
So,
suicide
and
bombing,
this is your
tied
better
around the
alternative.
neck, there's no God. Does that mean he's less of a suicide bomber? Because I don't know why. I don't know
Exactly,
why
we
you're
are the
making
one
that point.
making points in the last episode of Rational Dialogue that and the fact that someone is saying that people can't police the fact that people are saying Jesus suddenly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So that was just because they wrote
forget
it,
about
just-
that one.
I'm following your argument.
that was-
Continue.
So
Let me know
that's
what you're
so
trying to say.
just get my plan. So that's why we have had such atheistic state that we saw what happened. And then it ended in a collapse in 1990s, after which people embraced orthodoxy again. So I was like, this is very interesting. Is this the only instance we have? Then I realized that we had Mao's China. Under Mao Zedong, China. He also came with the plan that we are going to exterminate religion in China. And he did it.
Please, you need to fast check all these things as
Yeah,
a
please,
religious,
exactly.
as a
And then
religious
show the
materials are
years.
there.
practice,
I would
as
like
an
to show-
atheistic
I would
plan.
like you to show the years
Atheistic
in
plan.
between. You get the years between which they last because they always fall. That's why I noticed.
Of
that
course,
they-
definitely.
So now, what happened was that Mao's China, he decided that nobody, and then please clarify it, showed that people were dying, the number of people that died. So
You are confusing something, right?
Okay.
There's something I need to clarify
Okay.
with you. It's not really an atheistic plan in the sense that you are painting it.
Okay.
These are guys that want to godify themselves.
If it were that simple, I would have accepted. If not that I realized that there was ever Oxas Albania, which declared herself the first atheistic nation. That happened too. The same story. People
Same
died.
thing.
People were killed in unreasonable number. Like, that was the same thing. I was like, this is 3 times. Is this going to happen again? Then I saw Cambodia's Pol Pot.
Wow.
His own was funny because I'm going to
I
say,
like this because it's 4 things he talked about.
you know why this one shocked me? This one shocked me because I saw that 2 million people died or something like that. And I was like, that's not too much.
2 million.
Many people died. And even that we have heard about 60 million people dying.
That 2 million is just a piece of cake.
Then I realized that that's like 25% of Cambodia population at that time.
Oh my God.
So this guy is literally, if I told about somebody like eating his people, that's what is happening here. And now, on which grounds? On the
Is
grounds
it
that
another
we are going to make sure that this is an atheistic state. Nobody believes in the existence of a God or a supernatural. That's the same pattern. Every single time that it has existed. So now that's why. Now let me tell you the funniest part. The funniest part was that after Mao Zedong's era collapsed, what happened? The China in 1990s, they started embracing religion again, and now there are less than 400 million people left who practice atheism in China, which shows that this thing is not natural to humans. That means it's on the same level as communism, where you are trying to force people to do something that is not natural.
No, every of those states, they
are always communists.
It's safe to argue
So
that
maybe they work hand in hand.
Yeah.
And now, let me tell you the funniest part is that these things it is like they are trying to force people to fit into and then it will always fail because that's what always happens with any place, within communism. That's what always happens. So when it finally fails, people just start embracing religion again or belief in God again. So that makes me surprised. That was the essence of atheism in the first place. Because normally I don't care if someone is an atheist. It's not my business. I believe that people should be able to find God. People should be able to experience God and everything. That's why people should believe. That's why people should live their life. Belief is not really my business. But my problem is that I'm scared for my life and my children's life. If somebody starts believing that if this country is an atheist, it will be better. And then forget that there have been or does not realize that there have been implementations of this and then comes to implement it again.
It's not that don't make this mistake. I all these 4 instances you are citing, I know about them. And then they don't come off as the way you are putting it. If you have ever done any political science studies, all of these states are seen as a totalitarian state. They are not these atheistic.
So are you now surprised
pasting.
that it is not? Are you now wondering why it has to be that atheism has to come with totalitarianism when it is established as a state, as a nation state?
It's not
because we have other religions that are nations.
That's not. And I'll point it out to you. All of these states are bred under some form of strong religious orthodoxy, right? And then the problem is that someone gets into power, wants to turn himself into God. You understand? And they say that you should not believe in a bigger God. But they want to manifest themselves as
No, I see that as special pleading. That's why I see that. That's like pleading for them. This person just wants to be a God. No, this person doesn't want to be a God. This person wants to eliminate every existence of God. Just because in the process, it's just was an effect of trying to terminate God. That if it means that someone becomes God as a result, well, maybe atheism should embrace that as an effect of establishing atheism at scale. Maybe that's what should be accepted.
Don't make this mistake. That's why I'm saying that. What will you don't make this mistake of equating people wanting to be God and we saying that.
No, there are no evidence that people want to be God.
There's no evidence that
wants to be God. Don't do your study. Don't do your
study. That's we've done. That's why I'm here. That
people allow each other to talk. Now let him talk. Now let me give you a response. All these instances, Cambodia, Basintong, all this Russia, all these people are trying to create a communist state. And why is that? Primarily, what they are trying to do is to be a government that is totally in control, right? You understand? And they understand that one of the best way to do is to eliminate people from their religious beliefs and say that this state is not atheistic. It's not an atheistic state.
you really painted your own story that you wanted to say. Let me tell you why this is you painting your own story. Because I love the way Lenin made this plan clear. He did not make it confusing or anything. He did not mean what he said. It can only work when atheism is in place because these people believe things that are legitimizing authorities that should not be. This is not somebody that is trying to be a god. This is somebody that is just trying that things are wrong. We have to fix it. This is a better way to view things.
Let me help you understand something. Because what you are not getting here is that let's say I want to Islamize Nigeria. Right?
Okay.
I want to Islamize Nigeria. What will I do? How many millions of Christians do you think I'm going to kill to that to happen?
So now, if that's what you want to do,
if I want to Islamize,
I think you are going to either have to kill a lot of Christians, or have to kill millions of Christians, or tell people or preach Islam to people.
Exactly.
Or if I want to Christianize Nigeria, you either go the route of killing Muslims or preach Christianity to Muslims as a missionary. I think those are two options.
Good. So those are two options too in this camp. If you want to put it like that, it's like you tell people, oh, you shouldn't believe in God. Or you have seized government in a way and you want to enforce it on people. Any way we want to enforce, whether you want to enforce religion or you want to enforce non-religion,
it's actually interesting to know that there are state religions, actually, where people are not being killed like chicken in 600s of millions in 1/4 of the population. And people we have Iran, we have Iraq. These are Muslim states.
We have Saudi Arabia.
We have Saudi Arabia.
Let's go there.
And they are not falling for several years.
And they are primarily Islamic State, and they have Islamic citizens, and they are still bombing and shooting till now. So basically, this is what I'm saying.
Their bombings and shootings cannot lace the boot of the killings that these people do.
Now, this is what I'm saying. This is how I'm going. The argument where you are pouring atheistic view into this thing is you are forgetting that these people actually want to godify themselves in the first place.
You keep mentioning
this godify. There's no evidence of that.
This person wants to godify. Eva Osa is not someone that wants to godify himself.
They do. Do and do your studies. Which part of the argument you read?
Okay, which are you trying to say that you are inferring from his behavior that he wants to godify himself, or are you trying to say that was the case?
They want to make the authority of the state the supreme ultimate authority and no contrary authority. Not even a manifested one. There's no way you want to, even if you want to do it with Christian, or you want to do Islamization,
it's going to be the case. In that way, the Atheists didn't lace the shoe of these 4 experiments.
Here is where I'm going. All the places that you have cited are purely Islamic states in the first place.
What makes them purely Islamic? That's the point. What makes them purely Islamic?
They are Islamic. Iran is an Islamic state. Islamic Iran in the first place.
Purely Islamic. Like you want to make Nigeria a pagan state.
Yes,
Nigeria was a pagan state before the religions pushed their agendas and stuff. And we know how many people died when they were doing that.
Southwest was Isheshe before Christian came with missionaries.
So this is not a matter of.
And that one is too preaching now. Why have
we not seen a via preaching option?
Exactly.
In atheism. Maybe because people always reject it. Maybe because people fundamentally reject it. And it does not work.
The fact that now let me help you understand something.
Okay.
The fact that somebody hides under a particular label to commit an atrocity.
So now go ahead. Editor, bring back bring back that Islamist debate. So people can't hide under
Islam
to
people
kill
can
people.
plead.
But now, but when it comes to atheism, it's just because somebody
They are
takes it.
Valentine's.
No.
So they are Valentine's. They're not hiding
Hiding under.
So when people can
And this is the funniest thing. This is the funniest
you
thing.
have gone past that
Wait,
rational.
I'm trying to be rational with you. So now, if you want to do it, we are having a rational discussion. If you want to do any extremism anyway, it's going to come at those costs. And pushing an atheistic state.
Cost of 1/4 is let's not just generalize the cost. 1/4 of the population is a huge cost.
My own question is that why is it that
unprecedented kind of cost?
if it is even let's say it is hiding behind atheism, why is it that it is atheism that give them that right to do such magnitude
because why is it that it's always
it's atheism that is capable of being hide behind to do such magnitude
we have
of
the
evil?
question with Islam. Why is it that Islam is so susceptible to such things? Why is it that atheism is the one way we used to find this most heinous of acts?
I think the idea of the first and foremost, we need to understand that the idea of believing there is no God always have 1,000 variations. That's just like Islam or any other religion. But the idea of a centralized government, you cannot equate it to atheism as if it's a religious belief somewhere. It is not a religious belief.
Before he started this question, he said, "Do you believe Nigeria will be a national rollout of atheism? We make Nigeria a better place." You say yes.
But I'm not saying by violence, so I'm not.
So when you say that, part of the burden you carry is this. That
I understand.
Every experiment,
I understand.
Experiment. Not one single. Like we should even just see one.
We have cited all the instance of people trying to force people to be non-religious. It's a natural craving of human being to say, "Oh, maybe there's."
So you are admitting that now. That atheism is unnatural.
I'm not saying it's unnatural. I'm just saying it's a natural craving of human beings
so
to say.
Which means that atheism is unnatural for humans.
It's still a natural process to say, I want to be rational.
So now we are saying that asking for food is a natural craving of human beings. So we are not saying that fasting is natural. So we are saying fasting is natural.
It's also a process that human beings go.
Fasting is not natural. That's different between fasting and eating food. Eating food is natural. Fasting is not natural.
Maybe I should put it. People have tendencies to want to manifest a big maybe that
human beings.
Yeah, they have father figure,
which is natural,
which is more like
natural. Which means atheism is not.
I will agree with you that it's not.
Thank you very much.
That's why I said it's a position. It's a position that you have to come to, right? It's not being. I think we have to understand how we have evolved over time, right? Okay. And we have to understand that we are the type that says, "Oh, when there's a sound in the forest, we say, oh, that's a lion," right? And then we run. Even though 9 out of 10 cases, it may not be the case. So we are the type that manifests, the threat, the big guy, because we are just a fragile, creature. So we love backings. And I think it's just inbuilt like that. It's a process that over the years we have embodied.
There are anthropological studies that shows that community of human beings that believe in God survived. That the ones that didn't perished more. The anthropological studies, I was surprised when I found out. That's when I realized that, this thing is really, really not going to be natural. Because if you are talking about human evolution, that means people that chose
we evolved,
always died off. They tend to die off.
If we believe that there is no God,
we evolve believing. I think when we become comfortable, that's when we can start having atheistic conversations.
I love that. Which circles back to what John Wills was saying, that atheism is really for elites. Like some people who are already comfortable. I like that language of comfort. People are already comfortable. So if you know that you are a university student or somewhere, like people we speak to on national dialogue that is not comfortable.
You are not comfortable.
You should consider this coming from an atheist, that it has to come from a level of
comfort.
You have to.
It's not for you. It's not for you.
I'm serious. I'm serious. And I want to double down on that. But for instance now, if you have not gotten any girl to date you in your life, and all of a sudden you are saying you're an atheist, hey, Atheists will get money.
No, I think this one you are.
This
example you are giving is
It's
is tied to the fact that there are few atheists.
Alan.
Not like me that I'm an initiative person. I should start saying that
Atheists,
no,
I'm going to
that's
atheists
not
will get money, never get girlfriend. You know, not talk of you. So it takes a little bit of comfort, a little bit of, you know, it takes.
So you sure it's
do you know that I'm going somewhere.
It's for the elite. And you know, you want governments for by elites to cause at the end of the day. So I think that's why
if you think about it, being I think in last episode I was talking about people talking about Jesus or whatever out of reflex, right? Being an atheist primarily come from the place where you have enough mental brain power to exhaust on dialogues of logic, on sequences, on whether these are factual, on whether there is IP shifting here, or whether because you find it's very comforting to say, though true I walk through the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Especially if you are passing through the shadow of death, really through a wilderness. It's good to be reciting something like that. Maybe it will give you a little bit of confidence and comfort to walk through it. So I will strongly agree with you that primarily, as a fragile creature that we are, I don't think being an atheist is a rational. It's a profitable thing to do. Because wisdom. The Bible says something like wisdom is possible to direct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Bible says
I'm quoting Bible now.
Okay.
Praise God, hallelujah.
So if you are not really comfortable, like you were saying, and I will the thing about your argument about this thing, I would like us to put it in proper context, right? Which is like all these cases, if you are going to study them, they are better studied at totalitarian attempts. People that got to power want to eliminate any form of beliefs.
You know that the same arguments you made is the same arguments that communists do whenever we call them out on every practice.
All your experiments
are experiments on communism. We say that no, we have to not see them as communism. We have to see them as totalitarians who want to take over everything. And then, what are you guys doing? It's the same argument they always make.
Now,
this is why I'm laughing.
Yes, you see.
In fact, it's safe to conclude that atheists, maybe you check very deeply, except fake ones.
Our communists are that.
They sympathize with communism. Very, very like you. We can say that.
I don't think so.
Maybe you are not an atheist.
Maybe you are not an atheist.
I'm a capitalist.
Exactly.
Which is why I was shocked when we were making the same argument that communists make. Whenever we are referring to those instances.
I don't believe all those instances are real ways to look at atheism. Atheism is
but there are real ways to look at communism.
Of course. These are communist states. I will not take them as atheist states. I will not take them as atheist.
Probably sponsored by atheism.
I will not take them as
atheist. Is China not a communist state?
China, no, the funny thing about China is that China losing since Mao Zedong. They are now when they saw the effects of that these things were not paying us.
They are less communistic.
Communism were not paying them. They saw that we need to bring capitalism.
I honestly think I understand the case for why an atheist can easily become like those people.
Radicalized.
Atheism
is subject to radicalization.
Okay.
You hear that?
Point fingers.
And this is a point Islam. Richard Dawkins always talking about Islam. What's this guy saying?
Let me tell you why. Before you guys are just making a shout case. Let me tell you why. The reason is that I think the Bible says something like about a fool thinks he's wise in his own eyes or something like that.
A fool says in his heart there is no God. Is it that one?
No. There's one that can think he's wise in his own eye or something like that. There's whatever.
Okay.
So and I think if you look deeply into the metaphoric meaning of that, is this idea that you have to think about it rationally. If you think about it, this God says there's no God here. If you think about it, you said your child is not going to die. He died. So there's this, there's a pride of knowledge. There's this pride of knowledge. You all can agree with me, which is this definite pride of knowledge. That's why you really see an atheist that is keeping quiet anyway. Like, They are always very vocal. I don't know whether you have noticed that. So, and if someone is prone to use violence to make people understand their points, and they end up being atheistic, those two combinations are a bad combo.
It's bomb.
It's a bomb coming to happen.
So if someone has anger issues and then picks on Islam, that means it's a deadly combo.
I think that can be the case too.
I noticed that.
They beat the hell out of their wife.
We don't need to,
because when he was making his argument,
there's no pointing of
finger. No, you were giving that. Check Richard Dawkins, check Christopher Hitchens, check Elon Musk.
They are not aggressive. They are not.
They make arguments with humanism.
Humanism.
So,
in mind,
humanism when they share blood.
not making his own argument. As if for Paul was not making his own
it's not
argument.
disappearing. No. This is where I'm going. They make case for humanism. This does it favor humanism? Blah blah blah. You understand? What I found, right? That you see, before we ever had this, I said I hope you people are coming up with arguments. Yeah. One thing I found is that it. I don't know whether you have tried to teach somebody programming before or anything, or math, and you just show them that 1 + 1 = 2. Oh yeah, now what is 2 + 2? And that kid could not. I don't know whether anybody have tried to teach it. And then what will you do? There is certain form of you want to spank the. So I think if someone believes that you can spank a nation or you can spank a crowd at large, you understand, and then you are atheistic. Or even if you are Islamic, whatever, you are
Christian.
Or if you are a Christian,
you see violence everywhere.
Yeah, and you have didactism. You have that. There's a tendency you want to force it to be. Can't you get it? So I think that's a as much that is of all form of belief. You can combine that belief with the person, with the situation, with the content, and it creates a massive bomb.
So that means it absorbs Islam of all the sins, Christianity of all the sins,
or violence
of all their sins, because at the end of the day, it has to do with the person
that is.
No. I'm not trying to exempt anybody out of their sin. Right? Okay. I'm not trying to say that exempt or anybody. So that's why we are on rational dialogue. Is to say, let's look at it as a fact of the case. As a fact of the case is that if you are atheistic and you want to enforce atheism, you have the tendency of remembering that you don't have a God to report to. And if your God is not providing any form of whatever, you will justify it in, you will grant. So you don't have any God to report to in the first place. So if your sense of
wait, I think you are trying to describe why it turns out worse than even
than
okay, because those still have the consideration of God is going to judge me or something.
Like some Muslim. Now let me give you an example. If Muslims are in war, right, and they are fighting against someone, and those people are praying,
they will wait.
Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
They don't have restriction in that.
They don't have restriction. There's no who you they respect.
Can be cynical.
It's the best time to kill every one of them. You understand that kind of thing? So I believe it's a very worst one. I'm not defending any form of radical passing of an idea. Even if all you believe is just that Nikon camera is better than Sony, and you want to force it on people's mouth. And you want to pass bomb in any Nikon camera that somebody buy. You have access to it. You are the corridor of Nikon. And every package of Nikon pass through you. You might decide to put bomb in every Nikon. It's like that. They can be worse off when they want to enforce it like that. When any totalitarian hand will always have problem. That's why I don't believe it's just like an atheistic thing. I think it's any totalitarian, any time of I want to enforce this thing.
I feel like why atheism is important to it is that elder religion seems to be like when you add kerosene to fire. When atheism, when it's added to
there's a fire, it's a bomb.
It's like you are
it's not even petrol.
Which is like gas or something.
It's like a bomb to fire.
It's like something that
C4.
Like atomic bomb.
And they're adding C4 to fire. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Fire makes it a worse alternative.
When it comes to
when it comes to
get to your point.
Rationalization.
No, I will soon get to
when it comes to radicalization of something. or by force or something.
Which shows that next time we are trying to talk about how religion has made people do horrible things.
It shows how
always show that we are being atheists are usually misguided in that regard.
It's showing that atheists are usually
if they are not, they would not be taking that bold stand.
Those who throw stones should
not leaving glass out. I noticed that Muslims don't usually point out that Christians are violent or anything because they know that their own is usually worse. But atheists don't know. They don't have that. They just start pointing it as if that's the case.
I think what happens is that you really see an atheist that will agree that those instances are instances of atheistization, if there's something like that.
The funny thing I totally understand that. The thing I totally understand that is that most of those it is the same way communists see things. They always believe that it's not their fault.
Yeah. Is it not safe to say atheists that cannot consider that are delusional?
Very, very. And that's what practical life is showing us.
And from what you said, he said most atheists do not see it that way.
Exactly.
So which means most atheists are delusional at best.
So if you are trying to hire people, I will not consider that as a nice
I will not buy that. I will not buy that conclusion with you. Okay. I'm just saying.
No Islamic person will buy the
conclusion. No, don't buy it. Islam is not. Muslims will not buy that. No. I know that one for sure.
I want rational error to be more this articulate than this. You see the way I'm giving you all the rational arguments with. I will not see like that, like being delusional. I think what I will say is that most of them are arguing for atheism from we can reason this thing together and see that this is the case. They are not. I'm going somewhere.
For yourself.
I'm going somewhere. They are not reasoning from if you were to be enforced, what would likely be the case? Do you get it? They were not reasoning.
I do not believe that at all.
That means for yourself. You know what that means? You know what that means? That means their thinking is shallow. It's not deep.
I feel like you are speaking for yourself.
That's what it means.
I don't think
you are this step ahead kind of person.
1 in 1 million.
Apart from every random atheist chick.
I will agree on many grounds with you on that. Because if you are really atheist, if your wife give 10 naira to a pastor, you have problem with it. Right? And same you can give 50,000 naira for charity or donation in other crime. So there's just this woman are susceptible to all these things by default. And when they take any idea and take it to extreme, they take it by the heart. I believe the proper form of atheism is say, based on data before us, there's no God there. And then we are still looking. Not like this, there's no God, everybody must take it as such.
No, I think it's always born out of the fact that they think that the problem is that what people don't understand that there is no God. And they need to know so that they won't be doing nonsense. I think that's what pushes atheism to need scale.
Exactly.
And that's what pushes every religion to need scale too. Like people don't understand that they don't understand that they are going to hellfire.
Because it will affect you if most people around you do not understand things. It will
you even give credit to the set of people, right? That in their own establishment, they say, go ye therefore.
Like right now, I'm seriously thinking of converting to Christianity. I feel like I am really considering it because I know a lot of respect for
at
Christians.
least New Testament version. Exactly. Of course, you can also have where they shifted ground and all of that.
But me, I see respect. I want their own terrorism. I want Christians terrorism. Even my friend Muslim want to.
I don't know about that one, but
I like Christian terrorism. Yeah. That one I want.
That one. Sure, 500K. 60 million, 500K.
Check the number. Check the numbers.
Let me get to mine.
Let me get to your argument. I just don't know how to exempt those people from the fact that they proclaim themselves as atheists.
That you know, you
that
can't.
Not sound like I'm cherry picking. But we both all understand that at the core of it, at the core of those instances, which is like providing context for listeners, at the core of those arguments is all form of totalitarianism, all form of autodidactic expression of an idea. Even if it's technology, even if it's anything, we lead to such violence.
Outcome.
You know, so
regardless
church
of
has-
religion.
regardless of religion, regardless of
Right,
whether
right.
yes.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I agree, 100%.
So your
You want to
Oh, I think we've said most part of it, right? So I think we had the conversation about agnostic and the last week. And to be frank, in fact, right now I'm reconsidering my take, right? And because I'm definitely open-minded and even maybe I'm shopping for other religions or something at this point, to be frank. So now
that's why I will still take myself as a cultural Christian atheist. I will just always tell people that I don't believe there's God. And I say that from the point that I don't believe there's God, so I don't wait on God fixing my problems. I think that's mostly my angle for it.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, so now I want to get to my question. You are a confessed atheist, right? At least as of this speaking. Any other thing can come about. You are a confessed atheist. So the issues me I have with atheism are not much because you see where me myself I'm coming from. But the issue I have with atheism is the fact that I think it's a dumb take, and I will explain why. In a social setting, given that the setting is social, is not pragmatic. It's not the most pragmatic thing you can take. If you are trying to be a public person, you understand? Check, United States is like the apex of democracy. If you are living in a democracy, there's no United States president that has won an election as an atheist. Check Nigeria, for example. So I'm looking at practical utility of it. Do you understand? So if you are a Christian, there's a community you can just tap into. You understand? And the fact that okay, many people already have that, there's that base that you can have to your advantage in when you're a Christian or when you're a Muslim, you get. But when you're an atheist, there's a turn off. So if someone is trying to be a politician and is saying, oh, he's an atheist, confess atheist, the person is not really thinking too well. If the person is in Nigeria or the person is in what's it called? US. So I think that might even take them. That might even make it such that okay, wherever there's an atheistic rollout, maybe that's why it comes from a totalitarian government, because for you to get a majority and where many people agree with you is very hard. Maybe that explains why it is. So I think from a pragmatic, practical utility point of view, I think it's really a dumb take to profess publicly. You won't win election. That's one of the reasons why this girl, of course, there are many other reasons why Kamala lost election. But then her father is an atheist, right? Even she said she's not. If someone was saying Jesus in a rally and then she was snapping at it, you understand? So it's not good. She was just trying to go body with Baptist at that minute. So it's not good for someone that wants to.
I think I agree with you on the ground that that's why I said that I think atheism or the idea that I don't believe we are already forced to believe in God, and I will tell you why. In most constitutions of the world, it's always one country under God, including Nigeria.
In the US, one nation.
One nation under God, one nation under God. So the founding fathers are people of faith.
Yeah.
If there's any other way. What? So the one nation under God, and even there's a problem of other religious bodies have equated themselves to belong to one God at the end of the day.
They see how that is right.
They see
a community.
Yeah, in a way. After they fought, they still all believe that there is only one God.
Abraham,
they still believe there is only one God. Even the Islamic type, the Christian type, the essential people, they will still believe that there is one God. Even though one said that he don't have a child, the other one said that he doesn't have a child, and they still believe that it's just books that are different. It's still one God. So for you, if you are trying to strive for public offices, you are trying to, in fact, if you are trying to get married, I'm telling you, most girls that are a little bit functional, just quite functional, they are always very, very biblical, very scaboshy also on the side. They always say, I want a covering over my head, I want a man that believes in God, etc., etc. So there's that truly that I believe in, that for you that have not made much of yourself, and for you that are still trying to win market share, for you that is still trying to get a wife, for you that is still trying to get elected, think going out and saying you are an atheist is not really a good buy. It's not a good business for you to be in. I was at Jeffy's place, and I saw his mom, and I prostrated for her, blah blah blah, and then we had a nice moment, and she's there. She has been calling me, blah blah. She asking about after me, and she has 3 daughters. I can marry one of them, so. And she was saying that if her mom heard that I'm an atheist, that she will not even come again. So basically, I think it's a practical thing to think about that as a fact of, you can be an atheist in your room, and that includes that, often a lot of affairs used to come here, a lot of pastors knows me, and all of that. So you can be an atheist in your room, believing that, believing that, you should go to the follow.
I fundamentally believe that most people believe that. Like, people don't behave like people that really believe in God.
Although there are some people that
I know
behave like they believe in God.
But I know many people don't.
You don't say many people. Many is a big word. Don't say many people, because I've seen a lot of people that are just under the rock in that department. And I've seen people even having typhoid, thyroid, big diseases, and they believe that they are going to go to the mountain and going to fight it off.
Yeah, I know.
So people,
so I'm just saying that, like, there are plenty of people that are plenty.
And the only thing that people are selective in their sin. Right, they are selective. They may be overly righteous in one department, and then the same them that are sleeping with 4 guys or have 4 husbands or have that, they can be overly religious one, and the same thing that there's that. But basically, I think being publicly atheistic can lead you
low-key suicide.
Right, it's
Social suicide.
Social suicide.
Especially in Nigeria.
You are going to be
Not
exempted from a lot.
And for context, it's not like atheists have not won elections. Don't get
exactly.
You understand? But this is like 0.1% of the case, because in Spain and in some, so they've won elections.
I'm even convinced there are even people where they have been atheists in their bedroom. Who have been presidents of United States of America.
Exactly.
I will not mention names, but I know that there are people like that.
You get.
You just see one.
You ask them for a Bible verse, they can't even quote one. You have them and they will claim to be Christian. So there are people like that. Even Elon Musk, if you see, he does a lot of pandering, and you know that guy doesn't believe in God. If you are being honest with yourself, you know that. But you say, there's a lot we have not explored. You always see. So if you are wise, really, and often, if not for rational dialogue, where we are having this discussion, it's the same way I present myself to people. People that see me outside this conversation will not tell you that.
You know
I'm not
why I had to
anything.
talk about this is the fact that, there's this thing I call, sorry, Muslims, that as a common Latin, some people that they say, even Elon Jobs wears specs, suits, and everything, articulate about being an atheist, this, that, and all of that. Then he wants to start doing all of that.
Don't.
I'm just saying that, before you commit suicide, before you commit, what do you call it, social suicide? Elon Jobs will be at mosque. I can tell you that for free when they are doing what's it called? Ramadan fasting. So don't want yourself. So when he presents himself as Bashir next morning in an election circle,
sorry. With all these revelations now, is it safe to say that you, Elon Jobs, you are not an atheist?
Practice.
I'm a cultural Christian. I'm a cultural Muslim. Because I'm from both parents.
Thank you very much.
I'm from both parents, And I'm doing. They said in Islam, there's a belief that your heaven, your Jannah, is at the foot of your parents. You know, am I correct or wrong or not?
Of your mother, I think.
Of your mother, even to be precise. You know, so I do what my mother wants me to do. I'm a Christian on Christian days, and I'm a Muslim on Islamic days. During Ramadan, I do my Janaba and I fast.
Thank you very much.
I fast more than most Muslims.
Thank you very much. So now, I think on this Rational Dialogue podcast, we are due to have a real atheist. A real atheist to come and defend atheism for us. Because this man right here is not an atheist.
It's not like that. I'm not sick of last week.
No. I'm better because I hold my stand. I know. I'm just saying that from the perspective because the idea of theistic, is about God. It's not about religion, really. Theistic is a belief about the absence or presence of God. So I find the value in religious practices, right? I value in religious practices. Whether they are attaining that to a God, as an undertone, I get it. And most of the time, I don't subscribe to it. So you can quote me anyway. If somebody say God talked to them in heaven that I should drop 1 million into their bank account, that's not going to happen. I'm gonna tell you for a fact. If one pastor say he saw one thing, he saw you into his pocket too. So essentially, I'm like that kind of guy. But when it comes to it, right? When it comes to it, present yourself worthy of opportunity. That's one thing I will tell you. Present yourself worthy of opportunity. Capture as much. I power my platform, power many churches, websites. Apart from power many Islamic, practicing customers. Platform, that kind of thing. And then, for instance, now, I said that this episode is sponsored by, a very beautiful brand that, this thing I'm wearing, they are the one that sponsor it, And this stuff that Tracy, this guy that be arguing for 60 million people that died under totalitarianism that will not call, I will not say atheism, he's asking for Gulen. I know you come up with all of that, and I've looked into the only problem is that arguing that the totalitarian state without admitting that they push an atheistic agenda, which will be clowning, at best. It will be like, I'm just capping. So essentially, those people find the extermination of God as a pathway to push themselves as the ultimate figure, because all of us will agree that that's what they were trying to do in all of those instances. You understand? But they use atheism. That's what I will admit to. They use atheism. This idea that there's no God. So all things can be weaponized. All of the things can be weaponized. But any rational discussion, any elite discussion should be is what I'm hoping that people should have about the concept of whether there's God or not. And that should be happening in one-on-one discussion. It's not like something you want to radicalize into a state. But if you say, if we naturally just become an atheist state, I don't know how we go from this religious God-believing nation into an atheist state. Of course, maybe we have a better country then. But that will be by force. People will die. People will die. Because even people that you say that they are committing fornication and all of that, they will still die because of their religion. Is that funny? People will not buy it. So this episode, like I said, is sponsored by Aruno. Is a fashion brand that sells corporate wear, suit, shirts, tie. Oh, I'm not wearing that tie right now. Inner jacket, trousers, jeans or trousers, anything corporate wear, whether you are working in bank, you are a student, you are a law student, you are any of these corporate things, you want to be looking your best.
You're a pastor.
You're a pastor. We said to pastor.
Let me say it. You're a pastor.
You're an imam. You want to wear corporate. You want to look
especially if you are pastor alone.
Or if I'm mother Babalao.
You should patronize Aruno. They are on IG. They are on Twitter. At Aruno World, you can find their brand that they sell. We have a website, aruno.com.
Awesome.
AU, for those all of you that are wondering what is Aruno, or you are listening to this via audio, is AURUNO, aruno.com. So please patronize them. They are the sponsor of this episode, and they are going to sponsor more episodes to come. They are going to be doing a lot of suit giveaway. They might be in your school. That's why you should follow them. If you are following them, they might be in your school tomorrow or next week, or you don't know. We might be anywhere you are seeing me. Just ask for your t-shirts, ask for your suit. You might be lucky. Might get one from Aruno. So we'll see you in the next episode. You have seen the problems that we have with atheism. Before I forget, I think that there's one problem that I hope that they brought up that they didn't bring up. Okay. And that would be my personal problem with atheism, is the problem of the limitation of logic. The limitation of logic is this problem that you can take anything and then turn it into a confusion for almost anybody. Let me give you this idea. If I say this statement is false, do you know that if you say this statement, if you say, so is it true or false that this statement is false? If I say this statement is false, is it true or false that this statement is false? That's an example of the problem of limitation. You understand? Now you start wondering. If you say it is true, then
the statement is false.
Then the statement is false. Then if you say it is false,
the statement is true.
Then the statement is true. So you have a problem. That's just one basic example. Let's say another thing that they face with set theory. So if you say something like there are set, if there's a set of a set that doesn't contain each other, does that set contain itself? if you say that set contain itself, that means it is not a set of a set that doesn't contain itself. So if you say no, that set doesn't contain itself, then it is a set of a set that doesn't contain itself. So there's a problem of logic that almost any small thing, if you really, and then there's also the problem of infinity, right? The context of infinity. If something doesn't have an ending point, let's say all of this universe doesn't even have a point where it starts. All this big bang theory, all this argument, it's just like this is just the plain reality of reality. It has never had a beginning. We are just a place in time, and it doesn't necessarily have a ending. It's just we are just like that.
That means there's no place in time.
So there's no a place in time. You understand? So we always have the problem of thinking maybe there's a time where everything started. You understand? Because the question is that if you say, oh, there's a Big Bang, what happened before the Big Bang? You say there's some energy that moving around. What happened before the energy were moving around? Were there somewhere? If you say the energy were sitting somewhere, what happened before they were sitting somewhere? If they say there's nothing, even what happened before the nothing? So there's always,
What does nothing mean?
And what does nothing mean? So there's problem of infinity, there's a limitation of logic, and several other problems that I see with how we come up with the atheistic view. Although I also see the problem of just manifesting God, because we cannot logically find God. Does that mean we just manifest Him? Does that mean we just wake up and say there's God? So that's why I believe that if we can find more evidence-based way of relating with God, and if there's a God, why is He hiding? You understand? If we can find more evidence way of relating with God. When you say a child is not going to die, doesn't die. When you say, oh, I heal the blind, or I heal the sick, I wake this person, and it does happen. And it's practical. Since that's what you're claiming. And even if that's not what God will claim, if it's a simple thing that God will claim that anytime you do this, God will talk to you. It's that simple. I believe that will solve 99% of all these problems. I believe some people still not believe. People like Christopher Hitchens, if he's still alive in his blessed memory, I think we still not believe that there's God, even if God is speaking to him directly like this. So I believe the problem of divinism is one of the reasons why I think being atheistic is a thing you can be doing in your room, and then you understand. But at scale, think about it twice, honestly. And this is coming from a genuine atheist that is still a cultural Christian and a Ramadan Muslim.
A genuine atheist indeed.
And a Ramadan Muslim. So we'll see you in the next episode after you patronize Aruno. Aruno. Aruno.com.
Aruno.com.
That's where you get your suits, you get your tie, you get your shirt, you get wonderful. If you want to look at Elon Jobs, shop Aruno. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much.